Hello, I am your host, David Butler, and thank you for joining me today on our weekly podcast at Clark and Addison, Born into the Ivy. The best way to help grow the podcast is to listen to every episode, like the episode, leave a comment, and if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. I want to start by saying it was just 2 games out of 162 and was less than 1% of the season. However, the Cubs had a very rough week in Japan. They scored a total of 8 runs in all 4 games, including the 2 exhibition, and only 4 against the Dodgers in the 2 games against the Dodgers. They ended up averaging 5 hits a game with a total of 13 walks. That's less than 1 base runner per inning. Couple that with the fact that the pitchers gave up 28 hits and 21 walks. 15 of those walks against the Dodgers, 8 in Game 1, 7 in Game 2, giving the opponents far more chances to do damage each game. That was a total of 33 base runners for the Cubs, 49 for their opponents. Against the Dodgers, it was 29 total base runners to the Cubs' 19. The kicker to that is that the Cubs actually ended up with 1 more base runner than the Dodgers in this second game. The Cubs hitters had so many chances in that game and just could not come through. For the Cubs to not get more than 1 run against Roki Sasaki in those first 3 innings summed up the entire trip for the Cubs. This offense has got to do better the rest of this season. There is no other way to say it. I believe that will happen, but I also know that it has to happen for the Cubs to fulfill what they are capable of and to have the kind of season that we want them to have. There were many different reasons. You had P. Crow Armstrong, who struggled. Matt Shaw struggled. He ended up getting a hit, but it was on a questionable call, whether or not it was an error or not. It's good that he's got his first major league hit. That's out of his way. Very cool. I was very disappointed with the overall showing of PCA just because he had such a great spring. But he only had 1 walk in spring going into that. So he's got to show more patience. And that's going to come with time. I get that. The most disappointing part to me was nothing. And I mean nothing, out of Seiya Suzuki and Kyle Tucker until Kyle Tucker got that double in I think it was the 9th inning of Game 2. That was it. We've got to have more out of our stars. Ian Happ wasn't terribly productive, but he was more productive than those guys. The 2 players who really were pretty solid was Dansby Swanson and John Birdie, who made a key error in Game 1. So, pretty disappointing when John Birdie is mentioned as one of the key contributors to the offense. Nothing against Birdie. I don't mean it that way at all. But we have far better players who get paid far more to be able to impact the game in more ways than what John Birdie should be doing. The pitching obviously struggled quite a bit, especially in Game 2. Justin Steele, as we all know, he's way better than the performance he had in that second game. Shota did not allow a hit, which was fantastic to see him do in his homeland there in Japan. But he also walked 4 in 4 innings. That will make any outing shorter, especially early on in the season. That's really gonna make an impact on how much he can pitch. He ended up coming out at 75. It was the right play to do, right call, especially the very first start of the season. He's not even completely ready. It's just the right thing to do, as much as it sucked, even though he had not allowed a hit during that time. Now on to more of what we expect. Roster moves that have happened since they've come back from Japan. Jordan Wicks and Eli Mourning were optioned to AAA after coming back from Japan. Tyson Miller will be placed on the 15-day IL to start the season, so it seems possible and likely that the 5th starter role is down to Ben Brown and Colin Rea. I'm hoping Brown ultimately will get this, but I think the team will be better if we can trade for someone to boost the overall abilities of the rotation and have Brown get more reps in the minors or play more of the season pitching out of the bullpen and getting a full ML season under his belt. He doesn't have to just pitch out an inning at a time this way. It'll be easier to control his total innings this way and have him available for more of the season as well. I think Brad Keller has also done enough to earn a roster spot, especially with Miller starting out on the IL. If Brad Keller makes the starting 26 on opening day, the Cubs will need to open up a 40-day roster because he was a non-roster invitee. That should be somewhat doable without losing too much of an impact, I believe. So just food for thought for anybody who doesn't understand how that works. Because he was a non-roster invitee, he has to be added to the 40-man roster, and somebody would have to be taken off of it that way. Luke Little had his first appearance and looked really, really good on Friday. He gave up 3 hits, but 2 of them were on very weak contact. Those things are going to happen. Cade Horton had his second spring appearance and his first start and looked solid as well. He did walk 2 batters, but reined it in after that. So, in a perfect world, short of a trade for someone else, I would love to see Cade Horton grab hold of a starter spot at some point this season. The dude has got some filthy stuff, just like Luke Little, and will make a huge impact on that rotation at some point. Why not get it going? The sooner the better when he's ready. Nicky Lopez asked for it and was given his release. He had a really good spring and should catch on somewhere. Nico Horner finally made his spring debut on Friday as well. He didn't get a hit at all, but didn't look uncomfortable and had no issues in the field as well. As long as that keeps up, he should be on track to start next Thursday against Arizona. That'll help settle in the starting lineup and the defense quite a bit. John Birdie is a good defensive player. I don't expect him to go 3 for 3 every game, though. Heck, I don't expect Nico to go 3 for 3. But Nico helps strengthen the bench by putting Birdie back on the bench and just settling everybody in where they need to be. Nico is a great contact guy. Putting him behind PCA, I hope, will make a big difference for PCA too, and allow PCA to cause some havoc when he gets on base. Craig Counsell initially had announced the first 2 starters and has since announced who will start that Saturday against Arizona. So in Thursday's game, it will be Justin Steele versus Corbin Burns. Friday, we'll have Jamison Tyon. Saturday, Shota Imanaga. And Sundays has not been announced. I'm guessing it will be Matthew Boyd, but that's just 100% purely speculation on my part. So it's a little bit different than what we expected as far as the 1, 2, 3, and 4. My guess is that they're wanting Tyon in there just to split up Steele and Imanaga and have righty-lefty-righty. Or lefty-righty-lefty, I'm sorry. But that's my guess and my speculation with that. With a 5-man rotation, this could also set up Shota to start the home season opener on April 4th. This would make sense and would be big for him. He pitched well at Wrigley Field last year. Justin Steele's home opener, if a 5-man rotation, would be against Texas on April 7th, which is slightly disappointing to me because I have tickets for the 5th. But I will just be stoked to be there. And I've got a key reminder here. I've talked about it already in an earlier podcast, but I just want to go in about the season and what we're about to embark on. This is a rough stretch of the first 41 games, which includes the first 2 that they've already played against the Dodgers. It's an absolutely brutal schedule for the Cubs. To be quite frank, if the Cubs can come out of the first 41 games at 20-21, I would be absolutely ecstatic. They have 7 total against the Dodgers, 7 against the Diamondbacks, 6 against the Padres, and 3 more against the Giants. And the top 3 teams, specifically in the West, are all very good. They have 3 more against Philly, 3 against Texas, 3 against the Mets, and 3 against the Brewers. The only quote-unquote easy games they have are against an improving A's team who has some really good players, and 3 against the Pirates. I'm sorry about that. 3 against the Pirates, who have a great top 3 for the rotation, specifically Paul Skeens. That doesn't seem easy to me. To be completely honest, frankly, I'll be happy if the Cubs are 15-26. That seems crazy to say, to be happy if they're 11 games under 500, but this is a brutal start to a schedule. The better our starters are, the better our offense cannot come out lackluster. We have to hit the ball, and we have to score runs. Last season, when the Cubs scored at least 4 runs, they were 67-21. Let me say that again. 67-21. It is vital that our offense stays consistent, team, or everybody. For the year, they averaged 4.54 runs per game, but they had 39 games where they scored at least 7 or more runs. That kind of skews some of that some. Too many games where the offense didn't seem competitive, especially in the middle of the season. This is what really cannot happen again. The team has got to find consistency. Are they going to have some spurts where it's not clicking? Of course they are. But that has to be minimized. If they minimize this, then this team will win a lot more than they lose. Let's go, Cubbies. Let's get this season off to the right start. Don't forget to join our Facebook group as well at Clark and Addison, Born into the Ivy. Leave some comments about what you'd like to hear, about what you think about the topics for today's episode. However you subscribe to your podcast, please like and subscribe to Clark and Addison, Born into the Ivy, so you don't miss out on any of our future episodes. Also, if you feel so inclined, please make sure to leave a 5-star review and leave some comments. Also, if you are enjoying the podcast, make sure to tell any other friends or Cubs fans that you know. I would love to have more and more fans come and listen to tell me what your thoughts are. Paisley, send them home.
Go Cubs, go!